welcome back to Cyberspace Investigations. While most of the focus coming over to Next Gen has been focused on hardware specs and third-party comparisons, Sony has once again delivered on what they do best, launching with a bunch of great first-party exclusives to come out with the system. And one of those is Spider-Man Miles Morales, which is also available on the PS4, but we all know the definitive version is on the PS5, so why would you play the PS4 version when you could play heaven itself?
Miles Morales was a character that had a slightly major role in the original game. His entire arc basically revolved around his dead father, and helping enough people that he got bitten by an escaped radioactive spider. In that game, because he wasn't the main character, Miles had a few unnamed friends that appeared in one or two cutscenes, but past that, welcome to the homeless shelter city. It wasn't that he was homeless, but that's most of where we saw him. His character was alright, but it wasn't as fleshed out as it could have been. With his own standalone spin-off, his character and cast of friends was greatly expanded. The time of year is different. It's winter this time around, and it makes New York look different enough that it doesn't feel quite the same, which is good since it's the exact same map as last time. Though I think they had to change one building around to a fictional one due to copyright. Swinging feels better than ever here, and with the adaptive triggers of the PS5, you feel more like Spider-Man than ever before. At first, I wasn't a fan of it, but then I realized you weren't supposed to push the triggers all the way down, and it felt a lot better. I still find it strange that the adaptive triggers never go off, even when you're not playing as Spider-Man in suit. It took me out of the experience once or twice, but once I got over it, the adaptive triggers and rumble were amazing. In terms of combat, this game is a great improvement over Spider-Man PS4. The Venom powers Miles has, as well as the camouflage, add more depth and make stealth more interesting than before. More attacks mean more combos, and the rumble makes you feel every punch. Those tense moments dealing with tons of ranged enemies are still there, and with a few of the new powers comes a new feeling of being really powerful as Spider-Man. What really makes the combat shine is the performance mode. As far as I can tell, a locked 60 FPS, and it's beautiful. Seriously, ray tracing is disabled, but it's a much better gameplay experience, which is mainly what I'm looking for as long as the game still looks really good, which it does. This goes for when you're swinging too. 60 FPS doesn't make that much of a difference, but I think it's the best way to play Miles Morales right now. That, combined with crazy stunts that can be pulled off, really elevate this combat above that of the original, which is still pretty tough since that was nearly flawless anyway, but Insomniac managed to do it. How good this combat is makes me wish Insomniac would make an Avengers game. Now, I know we have a promise breaker over here, but if Insomniac did it, I have complete confidence they would do a fantastic job. In terms of narrative, this story could be on par with the original, if it was that length. The problem with this story is that it's only 5 hours long, and while that's still longer than any movie, the story moves at a breakneck pace, and it almost crumbles under the weight of all it's trying to do in such a short time. There was not time to develop anyone's character to its fullest, and especially not relationships.
Now we're entering spoiler territory, only continue if you dare, otherwise skip to the timecode on screen.
The story starts with Peter leaving the city in the hands of Miles after the Rhino breaks out. Good going, Peter. But it's alright, because they stop Rhino and Peter runs off to Symkaria with MJ. It's around Christmas time and Miles spends some time with his mother at home, along with his friend Genki and longtime best friend Finn Mason. So basically, after the whole Devil's Breath thing killed a bunch of people and made New York very sick for a while, Oscorp was pretty much done. Norman Osborn, despite still being the mayor, hadn't left his penthouse since the Devil's Breath crisis. This let another mega corporation move in and take over Oscorp's former empire, Roxxon. They have a leader, specifically of R&D, and his name is Simon Krieger. This guy is more evil than anyone else in the Spider-Man game universe at the moment. He is a complete jerk who ignores safety measures and buries it deep within the Roxxon databases for anyone who sneaks in to find it on an open computer with no passwords. Yeah, this game has a lot of moments that has me going,
How could they not hear him? He was right next to them!
Well, at least it all works out. The city was almost exploded. It's all good. Honestly, the characters could have been as in-depth as with the last game had it not been so short. I'll say the action scenes, cutscene-wise, are as good, if not better, than the previous game, so that's a plus.
Miles Morales is a fine game, but its length stops it from being truly great. I think this is why I hear more people talking about Demon's Souls than Miles Morales on a daily basis. It just has more to it, even though it's a remake. Miles Morales being only about 5 hours long in story and 8 hours long in 100% completion doesn't help in that. And the story pacing really suffers with that in mind. But overall, it is still a fantastic game that you should play if you have a PS5, and if you're not planning on getting a PS5, maybe try the PS4 version. It'll probably be fine and be more on par with original Spider-Man's performance. But yeah, so that's all I've got for this one. See you next week for another great program.